when I told the lads that I was having my first amateur fight, they were like, "You're too nice. Like, what you fighting for?" And then my first fight, I ended up finishing the guy in the 3rd round, and that's when they obviously started to believe me a little bit more.
If you think about the sport, there's 2 men getting in a cage. One of yous could die, and yous are both fine with that.
You crack someone once, hit the head off the back of the hit the head off the floor, boom, done.
Do you ever get scared for a fight?
I'm the one who chose to be a fighter, so why would I be scared of fighting someone?
How did that feel for you to lose that fight?
It's heartbreaking. Any loss is heartbreaking, but I was just like, afterwards I said to him, I was like, I'm done. He just beat me up, ate me up that much. I was just like, I'm done. Yeah, I went on a 6-fight win streak after that. I'm going places here. Like, you almost feel a bit invincible. I just want to get back and get scrapping and make up for lost time. So I'll fight pretty much anyone, anywhere.
How did that feel for you? Did you feel like, this is it now, this is what I'm meant to do? So today we are joined by fighter Cameron Paddy Hardy. How's it going?
I'm good, thanks mate. How are you?
Buzzing, mate. I'm buzzing to have you on.
Good.
Bit of a, like I say, it's a bit of a mad one, this, because I've always been interested in MMA.
Yeah.
And obviously because you're an MMA fighter, I thought, why not get a lad from the Northeast? I think there's something about the Northeast, mate, salt of the earth. Just love having crack. So yeah, mate, what got you into the sport of MMA?
So it's a funny one, right? Because like, you think a lot of the fighters, they all have these like big backstories, don't they, of how they had like a big rough upbringing and stuff like that. Mine was literally, I think it probably first stemmed from staying at my granddad's, and he just always used to put like Bruce Lee, Karate Kid, and he used to just put all them on.
Aye.
And then as a kid I did try karate, but I hurt a girl in sparring, so I never went back.
Shut up, man.
Yeah. And then I went into Thai boxing, and because I was always playing football when I was younger, to be fair. So it was like football was a main focus. And as I started Thai boxing, it sort of shifted the other way as I got a bit older.
Right.
And then the first fights that I had were actually in boxing, in the Navy, whilst I was in my phase 2 of training in the Navy. And then I found an MMA gym in Portsmouth, and it just went from there, really.
Bloody hell. Did you find that you had a natural ability even with the boxing stuff?
Well, I sort of did when I started Thai boxing. I sort of just seemed to pick it up really quick, and soon got shifted into like the adult classes at like 13-year-old and stuff. So from then I sort of knew that I sort of had like a little bit of something about us.
Yo, what's happening, people? If you are liking the episode so far, make sure you click the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also press the notification bell so you don't miss another episode. With the MMA stuff, obviously doing that in Portsmouth, is that something you just naturally sort of loved, or did you just do that because you were there?
No, it's something that I loved, and when I started training, it was sort of something that I did want to get into and actually give a good go. And then when I went down there, obviously I just picked it up quite well. With Spam, they had like a good few big name pro fighters and stuff down there, and I was like holding my own with them and stuff like that. So it just sort of stemmed from there, really.
That's unbelievable. How old were you when you first started?
So the Thai boxing was when I was 11.
Right, I see.
I was 11-year-old, and then I think I found the MMA gym when I was about 19, 20.
Why Navy? What made you do that?
You know what it is? It was to travel the world.
Was it actually?
Yeah. I just thought, I'm not staying in Darlow for the rest of my life. And I just like the idea of traveling the world. And then I quite like the idea of being in the military as well, to be honest with you. And it just went from there. They came into our school and done like a presentation. And then that's what sort of sold it to me, and then that's why I went in.
Did a few of your mates sign up as well, or was it just you?
Nah, it was just me.
Just you?
Yeah.
Did you love it straight away? Or were you like homesick and that? And
you do get homesick and stuff, but the longer you do, the more you get used to it. And then, because even being based down Portsmouth was a bit of a nightmare, because you'd only get weekends at home, so you'd spend weekends down there and stuff. And then we ended up doing a 7-month deployment around the Gulf and Med. But that's what I joined up for, and the homesick does get a bit easier, to be fair.
And what did you do in the Navy?
I was logistics, supply chain.
Right, okay.
So it was just sort of like the stores side of things, making sure that we had everything on board that everyone needed, ordering it in, accounting for it and stuff like that. Not my ideal job, to be fair.
But did it pay well?
It's not the best pay, no.
Is it not?
No, you get paid more that you're away, so you get something called sea days. And so the more sea days you rack up, obviously by being at sea, once you hit like say 100, then your pay goes up per day more. Then once you hit like it goes up like that. So the more sea days you get, the more pay you get. But the overall pay is not the best, to be honest with you.
So did you have a plan to get out at a certain age?
Not really, no.
No.
I wanted to go in, and then I wanted to be a PTI, a physical training instructor. And then further down the line, I ended up passing my aptitude course. But then I ended up doing really well in the MMA, and then it just sort of like I wanted to leave and then do the MMA.
How were people when you started pursuing MMA? Because like, were you all, do you think you were trained that way, or were you always a bit of a scrapper at heart? Did you always, do you know what I mean? Did you always like have a bit of a...
I've never been one to even scrap when I was younger. And I've had a few daft tussles, like who doesn't in the northeast?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? But I've never really been a scrapper. To be fair, if anything, I was the other way around. When I told the lads that I was having my first amateur fight, they were like, "You're too nice. Like, what you fighting for?"
Mad,
And I was like, "No, I'm gonna do it." And they were like, "You're too nice, man." And then my first fight, I ended up finishing the guy in the third round, and that's when they obviously started to believe me a little bit more.
How did that feel? So when you've had your first amateur fight and you finish him in the third round, did you get a buzz for it? Because if you're naturally not inclined to fight, yes, you've been putting the training in and stuff, but did it feel bad you hurting someone?
Oh, definitely not.
Did it not?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Because they're in there to do the same job. If he could have done that to me, he would have, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course.
So I didn't feel bad at all. In fact, he tried to slide dig me at the start of the second, so I definitely didn't feel bad.
Mint.
But now I was just like, from then on, that's when I was like, right, I'm gonna give this a good go. Like, this is a bit of me. This.
So from your first fight, you wanted to take it serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And how did you sort of career, what was the trajectory of your career from that first fight?
It was a bit of a weird one for me because I think, how many amateur? I think I had a few fights because I was in the Navy. I was like away, then back again, away and back again. So it didn't really like flow. Like I couldn't just keep
Get
smashing
stuck
it. I had to I get so far, then I'd have to stop, go away. And then it was when I got shore based, I think, and then I got, because I only had 3 amateur fights and turned professional because a big opportunity come up on Bama. But then after, I think it was like 2 weeks after my fight on Bama, I went and done 6 months in the Falklands. So it was
some story.
So it was a bit of a mad one really. But like I lost it, and then that gave me more of a kick up the arse to come back and pursue it even more. And I got shore based after that, so I was constantly based in Portsmouth, and then I ended up going on like a 6-fight win streak.
How did you get the opportunity with Bama like that early on?
One of the other lads from the gym was fighting on it.
Right, I see.
And I think they were looking for someone, so my coach was like, look, Cameron will fight on it. And it wasn't until afterwards he told me, he was like, I gave you the opportunity early on because I didn't think you were going to be coming back after 6 months away in the Falklands.
Right, I see.
So it just stemmed from there really.
And then you 6 win streak after that.
Yeah, I went on a 6-fight win streak after that.
What were all your wins by through them 6 fights?
I had 4 finishes, 4 TKOs, 1 submission, all in the first round, and then one of them was points.
How did that feel for you? Did you feel like this is it now? This is what I'm meant to do?
Oh, I felt
clearly good
like
at this stage.
after that 6 wins, I was like, fucking hell, I'm going places here. Like you almost feel a bit invincible.
Yeah.
But then after my 6th win, it's a funny story. We went out, the lads, because they always come to watch, and we always go out after. And
whether you win or lose,
I'm out after.
Well, I suppose you hadn't lost at this point, had you?
Yeah, well, yeah. And I was still wrecked in the morning. Slipped in the shower and hit my head off the toilet. I had to get like 10 stitches down there, and then I was fighting. I was meant to have a British title fight 5 weeks later against Harry Hardwick, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. I was a bit too confident, and so I didn't grapple, didn't spar, and then Harry beat me. So like I felt probably a bit too invincible after winning 6 in a row, because it was in a short period of time as well. It was within like 12 months.
Where did you fight him?
That was on the Old Made for the Cage.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
that was on the Old Made for the Cage.
How did that feel for you to lose that fight? Like, what do you go through mentally?
Well, obviously I already lost one. I lost my pro debut, but that one after winning 6 was just like that was like hitting a brick wall. That was because like obviously like say you've got that confidence before where you sort of think you're a bit untouchable, to then, because I think he caught me at the end of the second round with a choke, and it's heartbreaking. Any loss is heartbreaking, but obviously after winning 6, then getting that, it knocks you down a few pegs. Like,
do you ever feel like quitting when them things happen, or is it a case of no, this is part of the game?
So after my last fight, because after my ACL injury, that was coming back out, so it took like 8 months to get the surgery. Then once you had the surgery, it was like 16 months till I stepped in the cage, because it was like a 9-month recovery for my knee, and then I kept having like other little niggles and problems all coming from that. So then I put all that effort in, and then when I got beat on my last one, I was just like, afterwards I said to him, I was like, I'm done. He just beat me up, ate me up that much. I was just like, I'm done.
Because obviously I came to watch that fight.
Yeah.
And I remember when I'd met you in the gym previously and stuff, and I'd kind of looked at your record and watched a few of your fights and bits and bobs, and I thought, you can see the talent. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the win or lose on that night, and fucking hell, I don't know how you lost in the end.
Yeah,
but
I know.
fucking the way you started, mate, I thought this is going to be curtains in seconds here. But again, this is what happens in MMA, and that's the wonderful concoction of the sport, I guess. But I imagine that can be a bitter pill to swallow when you're that confident, and especially after the injury and coming back and stuff. But when I was watching your stuff, I was like, if he wins a few times here, he could end up being UFC standard there.
Yeah.
Was that something that you looked at and what you thought of?
Yeah,
was that what it was?
Like, I sort of give myself a little goal, like by the end of the year, getting on something like Contender Series or racking up like 3 or 4 good wins. That was the plan. So literally all my visions and everything got shot down just from a daft 10 seconds in a fight.
That's absolutely so mate. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It was a tough.
How long did it take you to get over that?
Still not over it now.
Are you not?
Nah, not really. I'll have days where I'm still kicking myself. Like a couple of lads fought at the weekend, and just being in that atmosphere, I was just like, fuck's sake, like, I want to be back in there. I want to get back in there and just do things right again.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram. As soon as you lost that fight, what were you actually thinking? Were you like, the sport, like, stop the sport, or was it?
It was a bit for a little while, and I'm just glad that I've got good people around me, like especially Davey as a coach, and like friends and family. They were just like, you can't, like, after that performance, even though you got beat, you can't knock it on the head there. And to be fair, like, you know what it's like, you are a bit pissed off, like, after something like that for a little while, but then afterwards it does sort of go away, and now I was like, I definitely need to get back in there. Like,
I suppose it's just a bump in the road, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I suppose if you get to where you need to be, kind of makes the journey a bit sweeter, doesn't it? Like, I know it sounds a bit... Does. I'm not just trying to say it to make you feel a bit better, but I think that does happen. Like, when I look at my career and certain things I've did, I think, bloody hell, if I didn't go through them things at that time, would that, I don't know, ringside with Floyd Mayweather being as good? Or, do you know what I mean? It probably wouldn't have worked out that way. So I think that's definitely something to say. Obviously, because you weren't from the, you never really were a scrapper, as you say, or a fighting lad before you got into it. How was your family and your partner, and do you have siblings?
Yeah, I've got a little brother.
How were they all like around you when you wanted to pursue this thing? Were they like, "Oh, you're gonna get injured, man"? Didn't it? Like,
no, my mum and dad, they've always supported it. Like my dad, like back in the day, it was more your karate, taekwondo and stuff, wasn't it? He was big in it. Was karate. Like, he had like, I think he was like the Northeast karate champion and stuff like that when he was younger. And then obviously it basically stemmed from my granddad, and then my mum and dad watching UFC, so they always supported me, and obviously they knew the work that I put in behind the scenes as well, like how much I graft, and I've literally grafted in the gym since I was 11-year-old. It hasn't been something that I've just gone and done for the crack. I've always put my heart and soul into it. So they've always supported me, to be fair. My mum on the night's a little bit different, to be fair. She's a nervous wreck.
Was she there to watch?
Yeah, she was. You'll have heard her.
All right.
Like, my dad can't even stand next to my mum when I fight.
Really?
So, like, if they come to watch me, my dad will, like, go the other side of the cage.
Yeah.
Or if they're watching it on a live stream because I'm like far down south or whatever, my dad will sit upstairs, my mum will sit downstairs. He literally, I think she makes him an even more nervous wreck.
It's unbelievable. Like, more about you. You've got missus and all, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's a funny one with my missus because we've been together, like, it'll be like 3 years in July. And it's the first fight she's seen because of obviously injuries.
Right, I see.
Because I was meant to have another fight on Cage Warriors, but I snapped a tendon in my thumb.
Right.
So I had to pull out of that because the doc was like, your thumb could stay like that for the rest of your life if you don't get it sorted. So I was like, all right,
I'm not going to take that risk.
Yeah. And then the knee happened after that. So that was literally the first one. She was a nervous wreck and all. She felt sick through the day and she was... but none of that bothers me. Like, I don't ever think about anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Would you still pursue MMA if you didn't have the support that you've got? Like, do you want it enough to be like, I don't need anyone around us. This is what I want?
There is that, but then there's also like... So, for example, my best mate, Phil, he owns the luxury bed company. He basically... I was working away doing rope access. And there was a point where I was like, this, because this was after I left the Navy. I'm not going to be doing MMA no more here. I'm just working away constantly. I don't know what to do. And he just rang me up one day randomly and was like, are you ready to leave your job? And I was like, what do you mean? Because he's a bit of a joker as well.
Yeah.
I was like, shut up, Phil. What do you mean? He's like, no, I'm going to sponsor you to leave your job. He said, obviously, you'll have to go out and get a few other sponsors, but I'm going to be your main sponsor. And then from then on, that's when I've been able to go full time. So if it wasn't for him, God knows what I'd be doing now.
That, like.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd still be in there, in the Navy?
This was after the Navy, this.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this was when I was doing the rope access.
I thought you meant you were doing the rope access in the Navy.
No,
right,
no.
Right.
But I reckon I probably would have been stuck doing the rope access, to be honest.
It's good money, that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? So do you think... See, with MMA, from what I know, is you don't make any good money at all until you're
not really,
at a level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it certainly can't be about the money while you're in this.
Nah, it's not. It's just the love for the sport.
What about the ego for a young lad like you? What, you're 29?
Yeah.
29-year-old from the Northeast. Is it a bit of a like, I can fight? You know what I mean? Like, I know that's how...
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. You do hold that a bit to yourself, but it's not about that for me, really.
Yeah.
Like... Because I already, like, at the point where I was doing the rope access, what was my record? I was 6-2. So I could have easily just left and just been like, I was that guy in the pub where it's like, I was a professional fighter, 6-2, this and that. But it's not that. It's just the love for the sport. Like, I hate being out the gym.
Yeah,
I just love being in there.
Do you train anywhere? Like, do you train in a normal gym? Like, not like bodybuilding style training?
Yeah. So when I was working away, a lot of it was mainly weight. I'm always training. I absolutely love training. Like, I can't not train me. I end up losing the plot if I don't train me.
Yeah, you need it, like, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. So if it wasn't for that, I reckon I'd have been stuck. And it's just the fact that I love it that I wanted to go back. And obviously, leaving a well-paid job, that just goes to show that, I think. Yeah,
it does. It kind of shows where your priorities are, doesn't
it?
Like what
definitely.
You're trying to pursue. How does it feel? So now, obviously, now the dust kind of settled. I know you said you're not over it, but
yeah.
But from that loss there, what's your plans moving forward with
it? So I think obviously, like, you've sort of just got to take a fight at a time as well. Like, I do like to put goals out there for the future, but especially with fighting, I just like to focus on the next fight. But obviously for me now, it's just to go out there and just get some good wins racked up this year. Obviously, I wasted a lot of time to the injury. So I just want to try and get a good few fights in before the end of the year and then go from there.
Do you try and... I mean, I know it goes without saying you want a decent caliber of fight. Yeah. But would you just jump on any platform to fight, or is it a case of no, there's certain ones that I would and wouldn't? Or for a fighter, does it matter? Like, do you know what I mean? Does it matter where you fight? Like,
it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me where, as long as I've got a fight.
Right. Okay.
Like I say, because of that time lost that I've had, I'm not really in any position to say, oh, I only want to fight on this show, I only want to fight in that show. I just want to get back and get scrapping and make up for lost time. So I'll fight pretty much anyone, anywhere.
I suppose the beauty about you, obviously, you're at SBG in Bishop, aren't you? And, and you've got Davey Grant round you, and it's like, to see what he's achieved in the sport, it's kind of like, it's within distance all the time for someone like you. Do you know what I mean? Especially all the young'uns coming in as well. It's like, it shows that people can do, especially in the Northeast, mate. It's a hotbed of talent anyway. So it's like, it definitely is within within your reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's something that I would always just say you've got to, regardless of your losses, mate.
Yeah.
Like I think it's probably made for you.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, from a social media point of view, what I'm interested in about that ego thing we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Do you ever get like? Do people ever question your ability on social media and stuff? Like, well, we've watched his fight. Well, he got beat. He's not that good. Do you ever get that?
Nah.
Or do you always get the credit for what you have done?
Yeah, I've always had the credit, and Darlington's quite a small town as well. And I get good support. And like the good thing as well is like you get messages off people who you wouldn't think you get messages off, and that does lift you a little bit, to be fair. So, and I think I'm the only active professional MMA fighter in Darlow now. So it's like quite a big thing.
Yeah,
so I actually get
it's
really
like riding on your back, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
yeah. I actually get really good support. I never really get anyone saying anything bad, really. And I think that's down to like also me not taking like any ego out in town or anything like that. I'm always quite well known for being like that nice lad as well. So, because obviously I think if I was a bit of a knobhead about it and stuff like that, then people would be over the moon.
Mate, do you know what's mad, right? Like, I'd met you once briefly before today, really.
Yeah.
And at the night of your fight,
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
I saw you outside, didn't I?
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching you. I don't know what it is, mate. I don't know what it is about Northeast, right? I get fucking hairs. I feel emotional when I watch a fight.
Yeah.
And I brought our last down to watch you. And I was there, and I wasn't even there to watch the whole event, really. I was coming to watch your fight. There was a couple of others on the card, but I remember the feeling when you lost was like it was my son or something. Like, it's weird, mate. I don't know what it is. I know it sounds bad because I say the same stuff to like the likes of Josh Kelly and that and all that. Like it's something about the Northeast. Like I feel like it's weird, mate. Like that's why I just want people to smash it up here. Like I don't know what it is.
Like, I'm like that as well. You just because you're from that area, you just want people to do well from that area. Don't get me wrong, not everyone's like that. Some people are a bit selfish in that sense, but I think especially with the fighting as well, because it teaches you that respect and to be humble and stuff like that. You sort of want the Northeast to do well.
Yeah, of course.
And I just think the type of people that the Northeast are as well. I think that helps because you want to see people do well, and that's just the type of people that we are.
Was anyone ever jealous of your journey, or did anyone ever try and test you? I know it's a pretty daft thing to do.
You know what? I don't think there has been.
Has there not?
Nah, nothing like that. I've literally had nothing like that. Everyone's been very, very supportive. Whoever, obviously, like being out in town and stuff like that, everyone's been like, "Oh, well done," this and that. And it's actually like I've actually just seen the good. I've not seen many bad sides of it, to be honest. So I've been quite lucky in that sense.
Does it make you think differently about when you see people fighting in town and stuff? Like, does it make you think like, oh, well, mate, you couldn't really dean out? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, or does it? Yeah.
Like that's like, obviously I've been there when fights have kicked off and stuff like that. And I'm always probably the one who's like, leave it. It's not worth it. Calm down. What? Like, just go away. I'm never one to jump in and get stuck in straight away. If I can, I'll always like try and diffuse the situation and just try and tell the lads to walk away or whatever. Because like you know yourself, like MMA, like especially out as well. You crack someone once, hit the head off the hit the head off the floor, boom, done.
Aye, that's it. Like, innit?
And like you don't even have to be professional for that.
Aye, exactly. And I think the law would probably come down harder on you.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So you've got more to lose in that respect. Never mind your career, but what they do to you in there. And the reason I ask you that, Cameron, is because I've got a mate, for instance, who when he started fighting, even when he was going to like house parties and stuff, like the lads were like challenged, like, do you know what I mean? Almost, you think you're in, and I thought for you to have had the sort of fights you've had, especially on the shows that you've been on and stuff, I'm surprised that no one's ever tried to like.
Nah, no.
Have a go.
I think that's down to like me being like that nice guy again, like because I don't have like no big ego about me whilst I'm out and stuff like that, and I'm not like, and I'm not because you normally get the guys out, don't you? If you're like 6'2" and massive, you get a lot of people who think I'll have him. But I'm just a little short guy minding my own business. I don't think I get it that much.
Yeah, I get that. That's fair enough. But I don't know though, because I think there's a level, isn't there? Like if you're humble and you're a nice lad, why would someone want to start a fight with you anyway? Yeah. But a lot of fighters who are the handiest ones don't look that way.
Yeah,
when you've got a hoodie on or something, that you can't really tell as much. Yeah. And I think that's what I quite like about it.
Yeah.
I feel like you can kind of, maybe it's the odd collie look, but you can, you know what I mean? You can kind of blend away. I think that's one of the things. Obviously, you're a good looking lad, and you're on socials. How important do you think it is to have a certain image or the way you look in this sport?
Well, especially these days now, I think it's massive.
Yeah.
Especially with things like sponsorships and stuff like that. I think it helps with all of that. And it's something that I'm starting to do a little bit more, is just get a little bit more active on social. I'm going to start putting a bit more like training stuff on there, because I think people find it interesting as well. But into like, you're almost a product, aren't you, when it's like that? So you want to try and look the best you can for things like bigger fights and bigger sponsors and stuff like that. So I definitely think it helps.
I think that's the thing, and that I think unfortunately that's one of the. I had a conversation with Ben Davison.
Oh yeah,
and he was actually on the podcast, and I said to him, I said about Anthony Joshua, and I brought him up, and I said, do you think he would be as good as what he was? Is what he is if he didn't look the way he did. And I knew I threw him off, because he was like, actually, that's a good point, because although he's still got the ability, I think it's the look that also gets him fights that he gets at the time and stuff. And I think it's a fickle thing, really, isn't it? Like, you shouldn't have to be sort of critiqued on the way you look, but again, ultimately, as you say, you're a brand. Like, you are marketable or not.
Exactly.
And a brand's going to look, well, we want his face on our product. And I think something like this, and this is why I said to you earlier, like, is it about the money? I think what can definitely make you more money if you're a better looking person. I know that sounds it's horrible, mate.
It's horrible to say,
it
isn't
is horrible.
It is horrible to say.
But and I feel like that's why it's, I don't know, mate. I feel like it's awful, but regardless how talented you are, I feel like if you didn't look a certain way, maybe he's didn't bother getting into the sport, because it's horrible to say. But for instance, in boxing, I know lads now who are starting boxing. They're not plan on ever really having taking the career seriously, but they want to be a YouTuber.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, so now you're lacing up gloves, or you're doing like how to box, how to rap, how to jab, how to do. I'm thinking, you want to make money off YouTube? It's mind blowing the way the industry's going.
It's crazy.
So I would always credit someone like yourself if you're saying you want to put more on social media, because you've done it, you've lived it. Yes, you're not where you want to be, but ultimately you've sort of did things that people won't achieve in the sport. Like that's a fact. So I feel like I would definitely encourage stuff like that. What do you think there needs to be more of in the sport of MMA?
Publicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I still think, even though it's probably the fastest growing sport, but I still think it needs that little bit more publicity, because you still get a lot of people who just think of it as like a street fight kind of thing, but the stuff that it teaches like kids, and how, like, I mean, you've met like quite a few fights through the Made for the Cage thing. Everyone's sound, aren't they?
Yeah,
like,
everyone.
There's no ego. There's no nothing.
I've never met a single bad lad.
That's what I mean. It's like this is the type of people like that it creates. So I think it needs more publicity, and like I'd like to see it in schools and stuff, mate. I'd love to see it get to the point where like it's mandatory in schools and stuff, and it's not seen as this like big brutal sport, because you don't have to compete, but what it teaches you is like nothing else. So I do think it needs a bit more publicity, and a bit like, because the guys coming through in the UK, it's hard to make it, so hard to make it. So if like people who like are looking to sponsor people and stuff like that, if they can get on board with a few more MMA fighters, it's going to make a few more dreams possible.
I wanted to ask you, Cam, about mindset a bit, going into fights and stuff, like just being purely honest. If it was me, genuinely, mate, I'd be terrified. I'm just telling you, like, I'd be terrified, right? But I feel like in boxing I wouldn't be as terrified. I feel like with MMA, I would. Do you ever get scared for a fight?
No, not scared.
No.
Not scared, because I just think I'm a fighter at the end of the day. I'm the one who chose to be a fighter, so why would I be scared of fighting someone? Don't get me wrong, like you'd be a bit more nervous if you're fighting a knockout artist compared to a grappler. Like that's going to be, because you could be thinking up like, I could be getting knocked out here instead of I could be getting submitted. That's obviously a little bit different. But I've never been scared. Nervous, yes. I think if you ask most fighters, they'll say that they get nervous. But I think that's down to also like the preparation and the team that you've got around you. If you know that you've prepared well and you've put that effort in, like you're not thinking, I'll skip training today, I'll do that tomorrow, and you've put that effort in, then you sort of have no reason to be scared, because you know you've put the effort in. But obviously after my injury, that's probably when I was most nervous. Not scared, but nervous.
What, in case you got injured again?
Just like, and like that long out the cage. because people go on about ring rust, don't they?
Yeah.
And I don't think there sort of is a such thing as ring rust if you've prepared properly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it is more so doing the walkout, getting in there, and how you react. But obviously, as a professional, I've done it a few times before, so it's no different to then. The only bit of difference for me, like say, was the nerves, and it was more the nerves on the day. I'm normally not too nervous on the day, but my last fight, I was a bit more nervous on the day. But then once I started warming up, I was fine.
Because I remember when any scrap I got in when I was younger, mate. Like I remember I felt sick, like wanting to vomit. Like I remember even like fights when when you're in school and stuff, or when you're leaving school and you're getting into like even fights down the town and that, and then you're getting egged on by and then you're like, I didn't want to do this, and I feel myself fighting, and I didn't want to have to fight you. Like, I didn't want to be in this position. Do you know what I mean? And that for me, that's like it's worrying. Like I can't that for me, that thought of that over and over again put myself in that position. That's why I feel like, as much as I respect fighters, I also feel like you've all got a screw loose.
Mate, I agree with you.
Like
I agree with you. You do have to have a bit of a screw loose.
If you think about the sport, there's two men getting in a cage. One of yous could die, and yous are both fine with that. like
it's mad, innit?
And we've established that we're not doing this for the money. That's what blows me mind, mate. That's what blows me mind. What do you think it would take for you to actually have to walk away from the sport? Do you think there's something you want to achieve, or do you think if there was like a bad injury? Do you know what I mean?
I think another ACL would probably be up there. Like if like another injury like that would probably, because I'm 29-year-old now. It's obviously it's a short-lived career. Like combat sports is. So I think another injury like that would probably be up there. But apart from that, I don't know. Just the love for the sport. It's like it would be very, very hard to leave. Would be very, very hard to leave it.
Do you have any kind of rituals or anything that you do in preparation for a fight? Is there any
Not really,
kind of
Matt.
No?
I don't have any like mad wearing the same boxes or
Do you not have
or
that?
anything like that. No, I used to have the same walkout song. I did used to have that, but I don't even have that no more now. For me, it's like I'm quite like mentally strong when it's like that for a fight. I'm just like, whatever happens, it happens.
Well, and what's your nature like outside of the ring? Like, what are you like with other people? Are you strong for other people? If someone's So you're like that anywhere.
Yeah. So I'm normally the person who you come to have a bit of crack with, need to open up to, or you need a bit of spurring on, or you need to kick up the ass. I'm normally that person to go to be fair.
So let's just say devil's advocate, kind of touch wood, but let's just say you can't fight again.
Yeah.
Or you don't go where you want to go in the sport. Whatever happens. What are you going to do with your life? Like, would you regret it or not?
Yes.
Would you?
Yeah.
Although it's taught you the discipline and all the rest of it.
What regret?
Would you regret pursuing MMA?
Oh, no.
No, you wouldn't.
No,
You
definitely
wouldn't.
not.
Would you not?
No.
So
no. I'd regret leaving it.
Would you?
Sorry, that's what I thought you meant.
No,
Yeah.
so if you were to leave now for
not.
an injury.
No way.
No, you wouldn't.
No way. Nah. The people who I've met through it, the bonds that you get through it, what it's taught me as a person, which you probably do without even realising that you take outside of the gym. It's just taught me to be the person I am today, really. It's been a big part of me. It has been my whole life. And I wouldn't regret one single thing.
And the reason I ask you, mate, right, is the way my mindset is, I don't know, I'm wired mad, right? Like for me, and I get, obviously, you're a fighter, you're a competitor, so you want to be the best. I get that. But for me, if someone said that, I don't know, I feel like I would regret doing what I do if I don't achieve what I want.
Really?
Because I only do this to achieve things.
Yeah.
I've got a goal, which is a personal goal to me,
Yeah.
but I want to achieve it so much. And if I don't, I'll feel like, what a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste. I was chasing that.
Yeah.
Like, was it even worth chasing if I never got it?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
No, that is understandable. Like, because, like you say, obviously, especially, say, me going full-time, I've missed out on God knows how much money that I could have made in the time that I've been full-time than if I stuck in the rope access. But just the journey that I've been on, the person that it teaches you, teaches you to be, just everything like that, like the lads in the gym, the friendships that you make. It's weird, the friendships that you make by punching each other in the face. It's a bit mad, really, the respect you have for each other through it. Just everything from it, mate. Just like you say, it's made me the person I am today, and I do not complain about the journey that I've been on at all, whether it's been how many ups and downs.
Yeah, to be fair, you've made us. I think what I mean at is it's financially. I'd regret.
Oh yeah, yeah.
See, because it's mad with MMA though. Because again, unless you're at the top, you're not making
Yeah.
a lot of money, are you?
Nah.
Does that bother you?
Not really, no, because at the end of the day, I'm still getting paid to do what I love.
Yeah, I get
Whereas,
that. Yeah,
fair
yeah.
enough, I could be earning money, but then I'm going to be moaning about going to work every day. And I don't know. I'm doing what I love. So
Could you see yourself doing a normal job, like a 9 to 5?
not really, no. Nah.
Could you not? I can't imagine you starting shelves like.
Nah.
Is that because of
Shadowboxing in between a few stats.
is that because of fighting, or is that your nature? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Probably a bit of both.
is it?
Probably a bit of both. And I just, I feel like I've got in myself too much to offer to be just stuck working 9 till 5. And that's down to what I've put into the MMA. It teaches a lot about yourself as well. So I couldn't see myself doing a normal 9 till 5 now, no chance.
What's your diet like?
So, you know what? Out of camp, I'm still normally quite healthy. I still get my meal preps, still eat my meal preps, but I'm just not shy of a takeaway on a weekend or a few biscuits with a cup of tea and stuff like that. But I'm not one of these sort of like Paddy the baddie where you have a fight,
scoff.
just go off, scram what you want. Oh, I've got a fight, right? Because it's more like a fat camp then.
Yeah,
and I think that's being disciplined, isn't it? Like you need to be disciplined in and out of camp. So normally my diet's still pretty decent out of camp,
Yeah, that's good. That it's not. I like that. You need to be disciplined in and out of camp. It's the same as bodybuilding, or it's the same as the gym or anything.
Yeah.
I think that pays a lot. If imagine how easy it would be when you're going through camp if you've just did an off season of nailing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're only making it easier for yourself, aren't you? Otherwise, you're making it harder by going on like that.
You mentioned Paddy the baddie there. What do you think of him?
I think he's done amazing, and I like him, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't knock someone for doing what he's done and what he's achieved by being the person that he is. And he's just being himself, I think.
What do you think of McGregor?
I love McGregor as well.
Do you?
Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with some of the things that he's done outside of the sport, but what he's done for the world of MMA is absolutely massive.
He's opened up the eyes, hasn't he?
When he was in his prime, the eyes that he brought to the sport was absolutely ridiculous, and he made it even bigger than what it was, just on his own.
There's going to be people who will listen to this, and there'll be young'uns who'll listen and watch. They might want to take up MMA. What could you... And I know we want to encourage it because you think it should be mandatory in schools and stuff, but what advice can you give them where actually just be aware of this? You might have to go through this. Do you know what I mean? Is there anything where you could... Yeah.
I think that'd be more so if you were going to fight. If you're going to, there's MMA classes out there. So what a lot of people do before they join an MMA class, they think they're going to, say for our gym, for example, they think they're going to come in and they're going to be doing fight rounds with me and Davey. It's not the case at all. Just go down and just give it a go, because we've all been in that position once in our lives. So just to go down, try it. Then when you start thinking about trying to be a fighter, that's then when you've got to turn it on a little bit, and you've got to realise it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can't just think I'm going to have a fight in 2 weeks. It's a completely different lifestyle, and you've got to make sure that you are dedicated, you are disciplined, and it is hard. You have got to put graft in.
Because a lot of these people as well, when they start getting jobs and stuff as well, it's you've got to be training that many times through the week, and then you've got your work to consider, and then you've got to eat right through work, and then you're not getting paid to do it. It is a whole lifestyle, isn't it?
You've got to be serious, and that, even the lifestyle, like I said to you there, that's being out of camp.
Yeah.
Obviously I do my nights out and festivals and holidays and stuff like that. But I'm in the gym all the time. It's not a case of I'm going to go off. I'm just going to not train for 3 months, go out every weekend or whatever. I'm still out Saturday in the gym Monday still. So like you say, it is a lifestyle, and if you want to be serious about it, and the way the sport's grown now is there's getting more and more serious kids about it. So if you are wanting to fight, you have to be prepared to put your all into it.
What do you think's attracting the kids to become serious about it? Do you think it's money, like, or do you think it's like the celebrity status you can gather from? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it's the money, because, like you say, people know that MMA, that the money's not the best in it anyway. There's probably that stigma about being a fighter.
Yeah.
I think that'll definitely play a part. But I think it's just like, for how big like UFC and stuff is now, that's probably encouraging more people to get in the gym, and then they're probably getting in the gym realizing like how much they actually enjoy it, and it's not just a case of sparring every day, getting beat up every day. You're learning a new skill, and like that's a skill that you can take out the gym to like sort of like defend yourself, and then the discipline and everything like that you can take outside of the gym. So I think it's more so just people are like more encouraged to get in the gym and realizing how good of a sport it actually is.
Mate, I know you see people who literally were going to go. I mean, is it that Shamrock?
Oh yes.
When he was going to go to jail, I think he did, and then this basically saved him.
Yeah.
And look what he's doing. That, like, do you know what I mean?
He's doing very well
he's
for
doing
himself.
Really well, isn't he? He's actually coming on the pod.
Oh, is he?
He is. But yeah, like that's what I feel like. That's when you know a sport's winning, if it can literally divert a kid from doing something stupid to staying in the gym. Can you notice quickly if MMA is not for somebody?
Yeah.
What is it that you look for?
It's just like the whole demeanor, like you can't be wanting to be a fighter and be shy.
Right, I see.
Like it just doesn't work like that. And also work ethic. Like if they're like being dead lazy in the gym, and it's just a case of just like 1, 2, 1, 2. Like,
what do you mean by shy? It's interesting that, because I was shy as a kid.
Like that sort of, like I meant like sort of like with the work ethic side of things, like coming in. Because to be fair, we have had lads come in who have been shy and they've ended up being an absolute beast in the cage. Like Davey always tells a story about Luke. He just won the amateur belt at the weekend actually. How he was like, this kid's never going to fight, and he got in the cage and he was an absolute animal. But more so like the work ethic and like putting the graft in and not just shying away from like a hard session. Do you know what I mean? Like you do sort of see it in someone, and you can tell when it's not in someone, especially when it comes to sparring. That's probably the main one.
What about, do you ever get people, because I know the environment in an MMA gym is like no egos, all that type of shit.
Yeah.
But do you ever get people who come in the gym who think they can have a go?
Oh,
never done it, like.
Yeah.
Do you?
And then one sparring session, that's it.
What happens? Do they not come back, or do they just change their ways?
You find most of them don't come back.
Aye.
Because I think they've come in with that much of an ego, thinking, yeah, I can do this. That's no problem. They soon get found out. Because like anyone knows, like you put a normal person against a trained fighter, the trained fighter is going to win every single time. So you come in with that ego, you're going to be going home crying. It's as simple as that.
Do you get humbled still?
Oh yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
So do you think you? Well, I suppose for someone like yourself, you need to be coachable, don't you?
So
you have to learn, and you need it.
You have to be, because otherwise you're never going to learn, are you?
That's
and that's what I love about the sport. Like you can just be humbled in so many different ways, and I think that's why it makes you a good person.
Yeah, that's
because you really like especially say jiu-jitsu, for example, like you get like a lot of like office geeky nerds who love jiu-jitsu, and like you look at them, you'd think, I'd batter them. Next thing you know, you're rolling with them and you're getting tied up with your legs behind your neck. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what though? It's the jits thing. Like everyone's into that now. You've got the likes of like James Smith, Russell Brand, all these celebs and that. Like, do you think this is just they're getting into it because it's cool, or do you think they actually love this stuff?
I think initially you'll probably get into it because they think it's cool. But then when they're actually into it, they actually probably love it.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's why a lot of people stick at it. Because it's not like sort of one of these things where like you do it for a few weeks and then leave. Like once you're in it, you're in it. And I think that's why you see them all getting the belts and stuff. Because obviously in jits, you don't just get given even your blue belt.
Yeah,
that's why they do it well, because they love it and they're sticking in at it. And I think that going back to that, like with it getting bigger and stuff like that, people are really like, it's encouraging people to go more and they're realising how good it is for you.
And you get your belts at different times, don't you?
Yeah.
So it's your effort that you put in and stuff. Exactly. That's the thing. It's not a case of I've done it for a year, I'll get this belt.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty. Obviously, your name's Party Hardy.
Yeah.
you mentioned you like to travel, you like
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
all this type of stuff. How do you manage to go to festivals, do what you do? I mean, I've seen your Instagram.
Yeah.
It looks like, have you been away recently? Did you go to Bali?
Thailand.
Thailand.
Yeah.
How do you manage to do all this, but still stay in shape, get in the gym, and take your career seriously?
So, like...
Because it's almost contradictive, isn't it?
Yeah. So when I'm in camp, I won't touch a drop. I won't do anything. So afterwards, I'll go out. I'll enjoy myself. But then, I'll still be if I'm out Saturday, I'm still in the gym on Monday. Mm-hmm. So it's just a case of because I do think as well, you do need that balance.
Yeah.
I do think you need that balance.
You can't just be all in.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people would probably disagree with that. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, I like to get that balance.
And I would probably agree with you to a degree, because I feel like if your career doesn't go the way you want to do, you've always can say, but I still did this and I still did that and I had fun here. And whereas there's lads who probably dedicate their lives to it and do it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is what's kind of bothers me a little bit about the whole influencer boxing scenario at the minute, because you got a lot of lads who've literally fought all their lives. They've never really made any real money, and you're getting guys who've never fought, and within 6 weeks they're getting 30, 40 grand on that. And it's like, what do you think of it?
Don't get me wrong, it's annoying. Mm-hmm. Like, it is annoying. Like you said, there's lads who've grafted their asses off for absolutely years, and because someone's got a bit of a name, they're getting paid this and that for a daft 6-week camp, but you also can't blame them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't knock them. At the end of the day, if I was in their position, I got offered that, I would be doing it.
Yeah, and I suppose they've grafted on building their following.
Exactly that. They're not just it's not like they've just dragged off the street and it's like 6 weeks. They've grafted in their own certain little way to get who they are, to then get that opportunity. So I suppose they still have grafted in a way, but it's just a bit annoying that we've literally put blood, sweat and tears into it, and then not even getting a quarter of what they've had.
What's the politics like in MMA? Because I know in boxing there's quite a bit. So in terms of certain gyms, coaches and stuff, is that the same with MMA?
I think MMA is a bit more kinder in that respect. Mm-hmm. Like you say, especially in the North East, like me and Davey, we go and train at TFT in Sunderland and stuff like that, and everyone, especially that gym, they're more than welcome. Everyone's sound.
Yeah.
And we have a good bit of crack, get some good rounds in, and everyone's sound like that in the North East. Maybe if you were to go to another gym, it's a bit iffy, but at the end of the day, you could potentially be fighting them guys. So you sort of understand. But especially in the North East, everyone's sound.
Have you spotted the guy who beat you?
No.
Since?
No.
Do you ever? This is me just being curious. Do you ever speak to your opponent?
I haven't. Oh,
Does it ever happen that?
I tell you, this is a beauty story.
I wouldn't.
So I had a fight with I think it was my third amateur fight, and I had a bit of crack with him after. Afterwards I will. I won't DM them and stuff, but I always I'm always respectable.
Yeah.
But a couple of days later, my opponent's missus messaged me and asked what aftershave I was wearing.
Shut up, man.
Swear to God.
After you beat him.
She asked what aftershave. She was like, I can't get enough of the smell off his head. I asked him to ask you, but he wouldn't ask you. So what aftershave did you wear?
Shut up, man. What did you say?
That's what I just told her. And I said, I don't blame him for not asking me.
So do you think he wanted to ask you, or do you think she was trying to whip in?
I don't know. I don't.
I
reckon she generally probably liked the smell of it and wanted to know.
Mate, that cuts deep. Imagine if it was you, a bird, and someone's just knocked you and she's asking him.
I would go off it. She'd be getting out bad.
That's terrifying, isn't it?
Honestly, I couldn't believe it when I got the message. Honestly.
Who's your favourite fighter?
Ooh, Davey Grant. Mm-hmm. And then I also it's a tough call. There's a lot of good ones these days, There's a lot that I respect. John Jones is definitely up there. Mm-hmm. George St. Pierre was one. Mm-hmm. Chuck Liddell was one because he was the one that originally that I first started watching. But yeah, there's a lot of good fighters at the minute. Tom Aspinall.
I'm sure I saw a thing with GSP that he said that he used to hate fighting.
Yeah.
Is that? Have you heard that?
I think
so. Or is that just me? He used to actually hate
sure
fighting, and he used to, again, almost not want to go in the cage.
Yeah.
But then do the job. And
you get a lot like that. You get a lot like that.
So they must clearly only see that for money then.
You would
because
think so.
Why
would
you do it?
But then GSP as well. He says he hates fighting. he used to be unbelievable, and this was because he would go to a jiu-jitsu gym and just do straight jits with them and get humbled every time. He'd go to a boxing gym, get humbled by the best boxers in there, and that's why he was so great, because he used to just go to these different gyms that's like they only specifically done, and like just sparred with them, rolled with them, and that's how we become so good. So it's hard to believe that he didn't like it when he's been going to these other gyms.
That's why when I heard that, I was a bit like, because you keep putting yourself in that firing line, don't you? Would you ever go into boxing?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
And leave the MMA thing?
It would have to be big. Or I would probably still do both.
Do you not think you'd have a better chance pursuing that?
I don't think so, no, because I think I would get to a certain level, and then the guys who have been doing it all their life, that's when like the extra talented guys, like I spar my mate Ben Marksby, he's a very good pro, and he's going to go places, and if me and him were to have a boxing fight, he would beat me. But I love sparring him because it's amazing for me as well.
Yeah,
and like I learned so much. So
he's doing well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing really well. But yeah, it's something that I would think about, definitely. And obviously the money's better in boxing as well.
It's unbelievable that, like, because I suppose it doesn't work the other way around though, does it?
Nah,
you're not really gonna.
There's too much to learn.
Aye. What's your thoughts on the whole Ngannou and Joshua now, but Ngannou Fury at the time?
It's just another weird one.
Do you think it's good?
No.
Do you not?
No.
What do you think's bad about that?
Well, it's been bad at the minute, I think, because Jake Paul's been beating like the retired fighters, and like he's been, and I think it's almost making MMA look bad. But then people like Ngannou has obviously made it look good because he's just held his own with probably one of the best heavyweights has ever been, if not beaten.
Yeah, that's
so.
I would say so.
But it's good for the MMA fighters because they're getting paid. Like Ngannou got paid what he would probably never have gotten paid.
And his stock's gone right up on it. Do you know what I mean?
And also that might bring a few eyes from the boxing over to the MMA as well.
Moving forward with your career, what do you want to be doing over the next few years? Have you got an end point?
No. Like I say, I'm more of a day by day.
Right. Okay.
I just want to fight as much as I can.
You don't have I want to be out by 33 or out like that. Anything mad?
There is probably a bit of a time scale on it, but that time scale will depend on how the fights go.
Do you want kids in that?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is that something you want in the near future, or is it down the line? Yeah.
I reckon a few years. So like I say, especially when that's coming, I can't be doing this MMA wage thing for one and a family. So like I say, day by day, see how it goes. And
Davey Grant does it though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He manages to do it with a family. It's crazy, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, I suppose even with Davey, like he's a lovely lad. I feel like he'll probably feel a bit of pressure to do it though, because of his status now as well.
Yeah.
So there's probably a bit of that, whereas I guess you could probably walk away easier.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And because you've got the age on him.
Yeah.
For instance, I think you could probably do other things. When this does come to an end, what do you want to do?
I want to be in the UFC.
So that's the non-negotiable. That's where you need to be.
I want to be in. But I am looking into being online PT. So I'm gonna, because I just love fitness. Like I love helping people. Like I'm always helping my mates. I'm helping lads in the gym all the time and stuff like that. So I think, why not take that further?
Mate, I think that would be a really interesting angle, mate. I literally, it's all I do, work with online coaches. Yeah. That's literally what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So to get someone who would be an online coach but came from a fighting background, I think that would be pretty...
And I want to implement because I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I want to implement sort of like getting that sort of fighter's mentality,
like the discipline
into your say 12-week program.
Yeah.
So you can take something out of the 12-week program and be programmed that way a fighter would be as well. So I think it's something that could work really well together, to be honest. And obviously I've been there, I've done it. I've had all the different coaches, the different nutrition and stuff like that. So I think it'd be daft not to. I think I will definitely still be involved in something that's to do fitness-wise, because it like I said, it's what I love.
I just want to ask you one more thing, Cam, and I could talk to you all day, mate. I think, again, like I said earlier, I think it's just people from the northeast.
Yeah.
But is it hard for someone in mixed martial arts to get sponsorship?
Very.
Is it?
Like I say, I've been very lucky.
Yeah, because it was your mate.
Yeah.
Did you do much reaching out to sponsors yourself, or is that not?
So it was more. I pretty much got all of them through Facebook. Like you say, because Darlton's quite a small town. I've been lucky enough to have a lot of local businesses jump. Don't get me wrong, they've come and gone, but like I appreciate anyone who sponsors me. At the end of the day, you've sponsored me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they do come and go. Like obviously, I got beat on Cage Warriors, and then I got my injury, so I did lose a lot. But obviously, from a business side as well, you almost can't knock it.
Is it fickle though? Like if you lose, is it like we won't outdo you anymore?
It can be, yeah.
People only want you when
that's the sort of hard side, like the shit side to it. Is
then it's your income as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's it. People don't realise that because it's just a daft few hundred quid to them. Them few hundred quid add up to me. It's my wage.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been hard the last couple of years, like really hard. But yeah, like I said, the sponsors is probably one of the hardest things to do.
Well, mate, I'm sure we'll get a good few wins under your belt.
Yeah.
And get the
them
UFC,
back on,
mate.
yeah.
I'll be there to watch you, mate.
Love it.
Cheers for your time, mate.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you, mate.